Thursday Worldwide News headlines live on RT International. Thank you for joining us. The UN Security Council does not see eye to eye over the draft resolution on the alleged chemical attack in Syria. Russia is calling for a thorough investigation into what happened, as according to its sources, the Syrian army targeted a terrorist stockpile of chemical weapons. The UN ambassadors from the US, UK and France were very quick to point the finger of blame, as RT's Caleb Mopan reports.
Reports have stated that the attack was carried out through an airstrike on a residential area. However, the means of delivery of the alleged attack cannot be definitely confirmed at this stage.
When the United Nations Security Council said that it could not confirm that the chemical attack came from the air, you would think that council members would drop their unfounded allegations. Well, you would be wrong.
Lethal toxic substances were dropped from the air.
The means of delivery of the alleged attack cannot be definitely confirmed at this stage.
The Syrian government absolutely denies any involvement in the incident, and the people blaming them are not objective observers, but directly linked to armed groups that are fighting against the government. But these facts did not deter the UK ambassador.
We have every indication that this was a sustained attack using aircraft over a number of hours.
The means of delivery of the alleged attack cannot be definitely confirmed at this stage.
It seems that the Western powers are eager to blame Assad regardless of what the UN says. U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley took it even further.
When the United Nations consistently fails in its duty to act collectively, there are times in the life of states that we are compelled to take our own action.
They're ready to start beating out the drums of war. But how about finding out the truth first?
Take some initiative, call in a fact-finding team, get out there on the ground and look at it for themselves. We need a fact-finding team, a UN-sponsored fact-finding team that can report back to the National Security Council.
Now, Russia also wants to know what happened and put forward a resolution calling for an independent probe. But some people think they already know what happened.
This bears all the hallmarks of the Assad regime, and the use of chemical weapons is a war crime.
There is an obvious truth here that must be spoken. The truth is that Assad, Russia, and Iran have no interest in peace. How many more children have to die before Russia cares?
But why wait for the facts when you can just blame the usual suspects? Caleb Mopan, RT, New York.
The following video claims to show the aftermath of an alleged chemical strike carried out in Syria's Idlib province on Tuesday. We can't verify the footage. During the Security Council meeting, the US ambassador showed photos of alleged victims of the attack to help to illustrate her point. However, it is not the first time we've seen a visual presentation being used instead of actual hard evidence.
Yesterday morning, we awoke to pictures, to children.
Beautiful little babies.
Being carried in the arms of desperate parents.
These heinous actions by the Assad regime cannot be tolerated.
Less than a teaspoon of dry anthrax, a little bit about this amount. This is just about the amount of a teaspoon.
Saddam Hussein has placed Iraqi troops and equipment in civilian areas.
Iraq declared 8,500 liters of anthrax.
A final atrocity against his people.
It shows what sort of mentality some of them have. They don't care about international law, international legality. So when it suits them, they want to bypass the Security Council now and the United Nations, just like they did with the war on Iraq in 2003. They bypassed international legality. So if they think that U.S. interests are best served in escalating military conflict, they do it, unfortunately, regardless of international legality or UN resolutions or Security Council requirements. They have done it before, and they seem to be threatening to do it again.
The latest remarks of President Trump about Assad's supposed guilt suggest a U-turn in just a matter of 1 week in U.S. policy over Syria.
My attitude toward Syria and Assad has changed very much.
With respect to Assad, I mean, there is a political reality that we have to accept.
I think the status and the longer term status of President Assad will be decided by the Syrian people.
The question will be whether Trump is so impressionable, whether he believes the mainstream media here who are drumming the drums for war, or whether he'll, like Obama, listen to his military advisors.
You have almost total unanimity on Capitol Hill that Assad's the bad guy, Assad must go, the old policy, and Trump was the outlier. Now we have Trump seemingly getting on the reservation, and you hear this kind of contented clucking coming from Capitol Hill that he's finally coming around to reality in essence, and that's very worrisome. The immediate question is find out what really happened here. Don't just let the White Helmets or the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights or all these other groups that are basically funded either by U.S. or British intelligence or George Soros tell you what's happening in Syria.